My family completely abandoned a fragile old man on Christmas just to enjoy a $32,000 European vacation. They did not leave a single voicemail or ask for my consent, choosing instead to drop a cold handwritten note on the kitchen counter demanding my immediate compliance. They simply assumed I would sacrifice my life for them, because I had silently accepted their cruel manipulation for years. My name is Chloe Vance, and at 29 years old, I have dedicated my career to working as a compassionate hospice nurse in Connecticut. I survived 11 grueling overnight shifts in a row just to secure a peaceful week off for the holidays. Instead of resting, I walked into a freezing dark house where my 81-year-old grandfather, Arthur, sat entirely alone by a crackling fireplace. This freezing December evening was not the first time my parents and my brother Jordan treated me like an invisible servant. Years ago, during a beautiful autumn holiday, my mother called to announce they were escaping to a luxury tropical resort while leaving me behind. I was forced to cancel a non-refundable vacation with my closest friends and lose over $1,000 in hard-earned wages. While they posted sun-drenched photos on social media with captions praising family unity, I sat home alone nursing an elderly man back to health. The pattern repeated during a warm summer week when my father celebrated his birthday at an expensive wine country spa. They intentionally left me out of the hotel bookings, using my grandfather's medical appointment as a convenient excuse to ensure I stayed behind. The absolute worst betrayal occurred during a beautiful spring weekend when my dear college roommate invited me to be a bridesmaid in her wedding. My father demanded that I give up my seat because my brother needed to network with wealthy corporate executives. I was forced to leave a heartbreaking midnight voicemail for my best friend, shattering a lifelong bond because my family decided I simply did not matter. When I arrived at the house on December 18th, my family vehicles were completely gone, leaving only the cold wind cutting through the driveway. The brief note from my mother on the refrigerator provided rigid medical schedules and barely enough food to survive the week. I felt a hollow emptiness inside, realizing that I had completely stopped expecting my own flesh and blood to show me basic human decency. As I stood in the kitchen, Grandfather Arthur watched me with an intense, evaluating gaze that felt entirely different from his usual gentle demeanor. He quietly asked if I had ever felt true anger toward my family for the way they constantly discarded me. When I admitted that I had simply grown used to the mistreatment, he offered a cryptic smile and whispered that our real work would begin tomorrow. The following morning, I discovered my grandfather meticulously repairing a broken kitchen appliance with steady, precise movements that completely defied his advanced age. He questioned why society throws away valuable things that simply need a little care, his voice carrying a deeper meaning that echoed through the quiet room. I began logging his daily vital signs and medications, a protective habit ingrained from my years of dedicated hospice work. During a quiet lunch of grilled chicken and vegetables, Arthur asked deeply insightful questions about my difficult career that my parents had ignored for a decade. I explained that my job was about making sure vulnerable people felt truly seen and comforted at the very end of their journey. My grandfather's eyes filled with a fierce determination as he softly stated that my selfish family did not deserve my kindness. Over the next few days, we established a warm and predictable routine while discovering fascinating details about his secret past as a successful real estate investor. Arthur revealed that he had quietly accumulated significant wealth by purchasing undervalued properties decades ago, living simply while maintaining substantial investments. I watched this modest man with a completely new perspective, completely unaware of the massive storm he was preparing to unleash. On a quiet Saturday evening, my grandfather asked me if I was truly happy with the solitary life I was leading. I admitted that I no longer even knew what happiness felt like because I had suppressed my emotions for so long. He instructed me to open a mysterious white envelope left on my childhood desk on Christmas Eve, promising it would explain his future plans. The tension escalated on Monday morning, when I walked past my grandfather's private home office and noticed the heavy wooden door was slightly open. Resting directly on his desk was a large legal document from a prominent law firm with confidential markings stamped across the front. I could clearly read the words indicating it was his final will, and the deliberate look on Arthur's face proved he wanted me to see it. When Christmas Eve finally arrived, I opened the crisp envelope to find a legally binding document completely revoking my brother's inheritance. Arthur was officially transferring his multi-million-dollar estate into a protected trust solely under my name, ensuring my parents received nothing. My jaw tightened as I realized this entire week was a carefully orchestrated test of loyalty, and my family had permanently failed. On the final evening of December, the front door flew open as my parents and brother burst into the house covered in luxury winter clothing. They immediately began shouting demands and complaining about flight delays, completely ignoring the fragile old man sitting quietly in the corner. I stood beside my grandfather as he calmly informed them that their vacation had cost them every single penny of their inheritance. The room erupted into total chaos as my mother screamed in disbelief and my father furiously threatened to challenge the legal documents in court. Arthur stood up with an undeniable strength, declaring that they had spent years treating his devoted granddaughter like garbage while chasing hollow status. They were ordered to leave his property immediately, their faces twisted in a mixture of intense shock and sudden bitter regret. Looking back on that unforgettable winter night, I realized that standing up for yourself is not about anger, but about recognizing your true value. My family hollow greed left them completely bankrupt of the things that mattered, while my grandfather's gift allowed me to expand my hospice care facility. True loyalty cannot be bought with expensive vacations, and the quiet choices we make in the dark always find their way into the light.